Welcome everybody to update number 28, at least I think it's number 28. Well, it's been a while since we did this, January 24th I think it was when we did it, and yeah, I have bought quite a lot in the month and 4 days it has been since then. So yeah, we've only got one standard Blu-ray today, the rest have been on boutique labels or in 4K format, and yeah, the first and only of those standard Blu-rays is Annabelle Comes Home. And you will have known in the previous update that I got Annabelle Creation, and I finally got my hands on this one, which is another good sequel to the first and awful horror effort that is Annabelle, because yeah, the two sequels have definitely been a lot better than that original film. So yeah, hopefully if they do bring out a fourth one, it will continue that winning streak. Right, on to 4K films, and yeah, Christmas classic as far as I'm concerned, especially in the last few years, and that is How the Grinch Stole Christmas. And yeah, didn't much care for this in its when I was a teenager, but because I was 8 when it came out, and didn't really care for it. But in the last few viewings of this, I've really rather grown to appreciate it, and yeah, now got it on 4K. It should look better than ever in terms of watching it every Christmas. So yeah, nice printed discs in there, and yeah, Jim Carrey puts in a great performance. And then we have something completely different, Moon, directed by Duncan Jones, and yeah, starring Sam Rockwell, and yeah, another really good, it's a really good sci-fi film, really. Doesn't really rely on special effects or anything like that, it's more of a character piece, more plot driven, and yeah, a really, really good film. Yet to see it on 4K, but I'm sure it will be really rather good, and yeah, nice revisit because I've not seen it in a while. And another sci-fi film, a recent classic, came out a few years ago, Arrival, one of Denis Villeneuve's best films, and yeah, it's got a great cast: Amy Adams, Jeremy Renner, and Forest Whitaker. And yeah, I remember seeing this at the cinema, and it was absolutely glorious. And yeah, I don't think I've seen it since, so again, it'll be really nice to revisit this on 4K. And now from Studio Classics, from Studio Canal, or Vintage Classics even, and we have a variety of films here, starting off with Quatermass and the Pit. Now, this was the third film of the kind of Quatermass world, or whatever like that, and yeah, better than the first two. I've not seen the TV series that this, I think, was based on, or a TV series that was based on the films, but regardless, yeah, this is the best of the three. Did kind of like the first one, but the second one was a little bit weak in comparison, and yeah, neither was as good as that third effort. So yeah, really, really rather good. And now the first ever anime that I have put into my collection, and that is The Red Turtle. Superb film. Doesn't feature any dialogue outside of like hey or hello or anything like that. No long sentences. Nice slipcover on it, and yeah, the Blu-ray and the DVD on both of the collection. And yeah, beautiful soundtrack. Absolutely gorgeous animation, and yeah, it only clocks in at 80 minutes long, so even though there isn't any dialogue, it's not something that gets boring at all. And yeah, it uses visuals to really convey its plot, which is really well done. Now, the first blind buy of this update is Cross of Iron. Not seen this yet, but it's directed by Sam Peckinpah, who I've enjoyed films from before. Also stars James Coburn, Maximilian Schnell, James Mason, and David Warner, who I've seen stuff from before and enjoyed from. So yeah, basically telling the side of the German side in terms of World War II, and yeah, how they've becoming detached from it all, not really thinking it's worth the amount of death and destruction that is occurring. And yeah, really look forward to seeing it as a character study as well as a World War II film, because I am a massive World War II film fan, and yeah, that should hopefully be good. Now here we've got a trio of Ealing comedies, all from, two of them from the 50s, one from the late 40s, so we'll go for the late 40s one first. From 1948, Whiskey Galore. Now this isn't my favourite of the three by any means, but it's still a really, really good film. Not got the a laugh a minute kind of plot or anything like that, but it is charming, and I like the fact that it's set in a place that you rarely see on film, in a Scottish Highland island, and yeah, in the kind of small community that you again generally do not see. So yeah, pretty good Ealing comedy, that one. And then an even better one is the Titfield Thunderbolt. Do not laugh at the name. And yeah, also This is from 1953, so 5 years after that, after Whiskey Galore. But this is actually in colour, unlike Whiskey Galore, which is in black and white. And yeah, looks really, really rather good in colour, to be honest. I think it was Technicolor, but yeah, still really, really good film. Even funnier than Whiskey Galore. And yeah, again, about a small community rising up against people that want to basically screw them over. And yeah, really good film. And then more of a crime comedy, this one, The Lavender Hill Mob. Definitely my favourite of the three, although not my favourite Ealing comedy, as that would be The Lady Killers. But still, got Alec Guinness in it, who was great. Stanley Holloway, who was also great. And again, it's pretty short, only 81 minutes long. Whiskey Galore's 80 minutes long. And Titfield Thunderbolt is 83 minutes long. So, I know Whiskey Galore's 85. So that's the longest of the three. But yeah, all under 90 minutes. And I really rather like that. To be honest, some comedies can be a little bit too long. Whereas this is short and sweet. And yeah, gets you into the plot straight away. And now from Signal 1, we have 2 westerns and a World War II film. No, is it World War II? Yes, it is. So we'll start with the World War II film, since we've already had one of them. And again, all 3 of these, 2 of these were blind buys. One I watched before, and I watched this one, Between Heaven and Hell, before buying it. And yeah, absolutely superb World War II film. Robert Wagner and Broderick Crawford are great. It's got plenty of tension in it. You really do not see a lot of the deaths and the brutality that are going to come in this. And yeah, it's really, really well paced. Doesn't outstay its welcome whatsoever. And yeah, really surprised by how much I enjoyed it, to be honest. Again, quite short, only 92 minutes long. So yeah, in and out in no time at all. And then the 2 westerns, the first of which is the one I was impressed by most. And that is Rawhide, starring Tyrone and Susan Hayward. And yeah, basically just set in a station master building, which is basically what stagecoaches use to stop between going to places, to, you know, water the horses and, you know, give people a rest. And yeah, really, really riveting film, quite frankly. And yeah, it's also stars someone, I thought it stars someone else that I had noticed him before, but no. But yeah, still, again, a really, really good film. And again, in and out in no time at all. Only 85 minutes. I bought a lot of short films lately because I've been finding myself lacking in time to, you know, watch things. So yeah, and it's a cracking film, really. Another really rather great western. And yeah, again, printed disc, again, which is nice to see. And finally, from Signal 1, we have another blind buy. When I say blind buy, by the way, I mean I've never seen the film before. I have potentially researched the plot, the cast, who's done the directing and stuff like that, but yeah, never watched them when it comes to blind buy. And that is with The Gunfighter as well, starring Gregory Peck, as well as Millard Mitchell. I think I've seen something from before. There's definitely someone in here that I've seen a lot of stuff from before, and I think it is Millard Mitchell. And yeah, directed by Henry King. And yeah, this is a different kind of western, really, because there's a kind of a ticking clock element, but then it balances that with a lot of characterization. Does start off like your typical western, but very quickly turns into something completely different. And yeah, I really, really like it for that. And again, it's set primarily in one place, which is always good to see. And next we have from Eureka, we have several films, only 2 of which, no, 4 that are buying them. And the first of that is starring the great Al Pacino. This is one of his best films from the 70s, to go alongside Dog Day Afternoon as far as I'm concerned. And yeah, comes with a booklet with it, which I didn't expect, given that it's been out a long time. Actually, it's been out since 2014, so I didn't expect to have any more limited edition versions, but clearly they do. And yeah, cracking film, directed by Sidney Lumet, who I've enjoyed several films from. A blind buy here that I've yet to actually see, and that is The Defiant Ones, starring Tony Curtis and Sidney Poitier. Been enjoying a lot of Sidney Poitier films lately. So Lily's, I think it's Lily's on the Field or Of the Field, I can't remember which, but I really enjoyed that. Still yet to see Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, but I can't wait to see that. And yeah, this is apparently really, really good as well. Directed by Stanley Kramer, who I've enjoyed things from before. And again, this is a double disc, like several other films we've seen so far, so Blu-ray and DVD. And yeah, really looking forward to seeing that. I'm not sure how long it actually is. It's never easy to find. 96 minutes, so not particularly long. And then we have The Don Is Dead. Watched this before buying it, and don't regret that at all because it's absolutely a superb film. Kind of a knockoff of Godfather in some ways, but since I've never been the biggest of fans of The Godfather, I'm totally fine with that, and especially since I've really enjoyed Richard Fleischer's films before. So yeah, and again, comes with a booklet despite being out quite a while. This came out in 2000. Oh no, this came out in 2021. Did not know that. But yeah, still a really, really good crime film set around mobs and stuff like that. And then we got another World War II film, Five Graves to Cairo. This is more of like a kind of got a mystery element to it because he's about our lead character's trying to work out what the Five Graves to Cairo means. But yeah, again, comes with a booklet, got a really good cast, quite tense in places, and again, this is only set in really one place, in a hotel in the middle of the desert. So yeah, not my favourite Billy Wilder film, but yeah, definitely does a good job. And a film noir in this Gun for Hire, starring the great Veronica Lake, Robert Preston and Alan Ladd. The first of many collaborations that Veronica Lake and Alan Ladd had together. And yeah, only 81 minutes long, so it's not really a film that's going to be sticking around for very long. But yeah, and again, despite this coming out a while ago, a couple of years ago now, it still comes with a booklet. So it does tell me that Eureka aren't always selling all that well, but as far as I'm concerned, that just means I get the best version release that they've brought out. One film that I didn't watch before buying it is The Incident. Now this has got an early performance from Martin Sheen before he'd go on to bigger and more notable films. And yeah, also stars Thelma Ritter, who was in, I think, Rear Window, as well as Tony Musante. And yeah, it's a cracking film. Basically sets it up like a disaster film, really, where introduces each of the characters. All of the characters have in common the thought they need to use a subway train late at night, like 2 a.m. And yeah, 2 of the people that want to use the train are hoodlums who end up terrorising the rest of the passengers on the train. And yeah, really gripping, really well shot. And yeah, again, it's primarily set in one location. Kind of a theme today. And yeah, then we have White Dog, the last American film from Samuel Fuller. And yeah, a really rather searing look at racism and segregation, I guess, in some kind of way. But yeah, basically it's about a white dog that is discovered by an actress. She runs it over, ends up nursing it back to health, but it turns out it's a dog that's been bred to kill black people. And yeah, that is a really rather tough subject to really tackle. But Samuel Fuller does a great job of it. It's only 90 minutes long, and yeah, Paul Winfield is a great in the role of trying to teach the dog to not have that killer instinct of killing black people anymore. And it's yeah, really a great drama, quite frankly. And yeah, it's a shame that it was the last Samuel Fuller film, because he could have done even better films, because he lived for at least more than a decade after that was released. So it's a shame that he never got to do more. And the reason he never did more was because Paramount scrapped the release of the film, so it jaded him in terms of the Hollywood industry, so he just fled to France and did a couple more films over there. Then we have The Flight of the Phoenix, starring the great James Stewart and Richard Attenborough, and it's also directed by Robert Aldrich. And yeah, really rather superb film. Basically a bunch of is it oil workers? Yeah, oil men and military personnel crashes in the desert, and they're basically trying to not only survive but also get what's left of the plane back up into the air so they can get back to civilization rather than dying in the desert. And yeah, again got a booklet, and yeah, which again is surprising because yeah, this came out in 2016, so it's a good 6 years ago. So yeah, that's a lot of films, and we have even more. We have several from Indicator. I think there's not a single one of which I actually watched before buying it. Not watched all of them yet. I've watched all but 3, I think. But yeah, still, most of them have been good. The one that was a little bit of a disappointment was Mickey 1, which is because I really rather like Warren Beatty. I've really liked the 3 other films I've seen from Arthur Penn, Bonnie and Clyde, also starring Warren Beatty, Night Moves, and The Chase. But sadly, yeah, this wasn't as good as either of those films. But still a solid film. It's a little bit on the experimental side in terms of its cinematography, its editing and the like. And it's not the best film in terms of its plot, but it is engrossing, and the score is really rather good. Standard edition though, so just a single disc, no booklet or anything with these. Because, yeah, I bought them all on a 5 for 40 deal. And then we have a western from Bud Bodica, The Tall T, starring Randolph Scott, who I've seen in other films like Ride the High Country, which was really good. And yeah, it's also got Richard Boone, Maureen O'Sullivan, and Arthur Honeycutt, as well as, I think it's got Skip Homia in it as well. But yeah, still really, really good western. Again, primarily set in one location in a small hideout, and yeah, really good at ratcheting up the tension while also providing plenty of characterization. Then we have Castle Keep. Not seen this yet, but since it's got Burt Lancaster in it, and it's directed by Sidney Pollack, I'm confident it'll be good. And basically, it's about a group of an army platoon, I think, that are during World War II, who have to hide out in a 10th century castle to try and fight off the Germans. And yeah, sounds good. I like the sound of the premise, but whether it's actually any good, we'll have to see until I actually watch it. And then the second of 3 films that I've yet to see out of this lot is Comanche Station, also starring Randolph Scott, and also directed by Bud Bodica. And yeah, this also has Skip Homia in it as well. And yeah, it's done in CinemaScope, but I can't tell you much more about it outside of that, to be honest. But it is only 73 minutes long. The Tall T was only 78 minutes long. Bud Bodica did a lot of short westerns, and I rather like that as a way of opposing the more longer and bigger westerns of the time. Then we have Taste of Fear. Now, even though it does say also starring Christopher Lee, he's only in a couple of scenes, so don't go into it for Christopher Lee, but do go in for the fact that it's a really, really good thriller come horror film. And yeah, again, really rather short, but yeah, it's got really good cinematography, plenty of tension throughout, and the 3 lead cast, Susan Strasberg, Ronald Lewis, and Ann Todd, are really rather good. Then we have The Snorkel. Now, this is a superb performance from Peter Van Eyck, and yeah, the rest of the cast isn't as good, but it's got a really good murder setup to it, and then it's basically about him trying to convince the people around him that he isn't the murderer of his wife to get money. And yeah, it's got a really good, like I said, a really good murder setup, and yeah, goes from there. It's not the rest of the film isn't as good, but it still is enjoyable enough. And then another film that was a little bit underwhelming, especially given the cast and the director, Little Murders. Now, I got into this because it's got Elliot Gould in it, Donald Sutherland, Lou Jacobi, and it's directed by Alan Arkin, as well as starring Alan Arkin. And yeah, not as good as I hoped, but it's still it's got a good dark comedy side to it. But it's just the ending really that irked me a little bit. It just wasn't quite that satisfying. But still, a solid enough film. And like it says on the back, funny in a new way and frightening. Funny in a new and frightening way. And it certainly is that. And then we also have, I think this one is World War II again. I'm sorry, but I just can't remember. And that is Yesterday's Enemy. I think it's set in Burma during World War II. Been a while since I saw it, but it's directed by Val Guest, who has also done another one of the films that we're going to look at as well. But yeah, again, I watched this as a blind buy, and yeah, really surprised me how good it is. Features no score. It's really rather downbeat and gritty, but Stanley Baker is great in the lead role. And yeah, single disc again. And also from Val Guest, I recently just watched this, The Camp on Blood Island. Again, really rather stark, downbeat kind of World War II film set in a Japanese internment camp. And yeah, again, only short, 81 minutes long. And yeah, brutal truth behind the Japanese war crimes. And yeah, Carmona, Andre Morale, and Walter Fitzgerald are all really good. And again, like I said, directed by Val Guest, who did several other films from the 50s that I really enjoyed. I think he also did The Day the World Ended or The Day the Earth Caught Fire. I can't remember which version of that title it was, but still, he's a really good director. And finally, from Indicator, another film I have yet to see. So again, a blind buy, The Deadly Affair. But it also stars James Mason, Maximilian Chanel, who was in, what was it that we have yet to see? Was it Cross of Iron? Yes. Both in the same film, James Mason and Maximilian Chanel. I did not realise that when buying it. So Cross of Iron has those two, and so does The Deadly Affair, as well as... Actually, I've not seen anything from the other three. But yeah, it's based on the John le Carré's novel, and it's directed by Sidney Lumet, who again has not really put a foot wrong. Same author who did The Spy Who Came In From the Cold, another really good film. And yeah, again, a single disc. So yeah, you might be thinking, there's no way he's got any more than that. Yeah, yes I do. One last thing is a box set from Arrow Video. Not seen any of these films yet, so I am only just going to show you them off quickly because I want to do a full review of this box set overall, and that is Vengeance Trails. So it's got 4 classic westerns directed by Lucio Fulci, Maurizio Lucidi, Massimo Dalmano, and Antonio Margaretti. And yeah, it's got Massacre Time, My Name is Pecos, Bandidos, and God Said to Cain. It's also got a double-sided poster and a booklet. So yeah, I will show that off in a full review on its own. But yeah, can't wait to get through all 4 of those at some point. So yeah, that is a lot of films. So there's 4 in there. Then there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 from Indicator. So that's 13. Then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No, 8, sorry, from Eureka. Again, so that's 21. Then there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from the Vintage Classics of Studio Canal. What's that, 26? Then there was 3 4Ks, 29. Then there was Annabelle Comes Home, 30. And the 3 Signal 1 films. So 33 films overall. So yeah, quite a big haul there. But because a lot of them were on offer or they were far cheaper than they were a year or so ago when they came out, then yeah, not really spent all that much to be honest. So yeah, but thanks for watching. It's been a bit of a long one, I know that. Do apologise, but I should probably split these up a bit more often. But yeah, nonetheless, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.